Hey folks, Jordan Chariton live with Jordan Chariton. I hope you're doing well. It is, what's today? Wednesday, 2:45 p.m. in the East Coast. It is snowing here in New York, but not yet snowing in my parents' kitchen, which I am continuing to come live to you from as I recuperate from back surgery. Now, I want to make something clear. Hello, Pirate Alex. Want to make something clear. I'm not at my apartment. I'll be coming live from my parents' kitchen. I don't have any special lighting, but I did get some complaints about the lights back there because they were making too much of a, distracting glare, so I shut those off. So some of the video, like you see me lit, some of it's dark. Sorry, what can I tell you? In the future, there will be a better lit set and even maybe a studio. We'll see. So, but for now, you'll have to deal with a little darkness, a little light. What can I tell you? But I did shave, so that's good. Hope you guys are doing well. We've been very busy. Jen, my business partner, stayed up pretty much till like 3 in the morning to make sure that chapter 5 of my book, Corporate Con Job, would be ready today. We published that this morning. The link to that will be in the description box. Chapter 5, I hope you, if you have PTSD from the Democratic National Convention, definitely read it next to a loved one, no violent objects next to you, maybe wine if you'd like. Obviously, some of the chapters that I'm going to be rolling out, my plan is to roll out 2 chapters a month going forward. I've written 10 new chapters and I have more to write. Some of the chapters, obviously, the events that are discussed and described happened, a year and a half, sometimes 2 years ago. I planned on getting the chapters out earlier, but then, some things happened in my life if you haven't been paying attention, so kind of got delayed. So chapter 5 is out today for my Patreon subscribers. So that's patreon.com/Jordan Chariton. I'm going to read you a little bit later in this, a short excerpt from that chapter. What you don't know, I in my writing, I don't really focus on my personal life that much. I really focus on the stories. But I happened to, on the train ride down to the Democratic National Convention, my girlfriend at the time and we had been dating for a year. I was actually thinking about potential marriage and proposal. Her and I broke up as I was taking a train down to Philadelphia. So, imagine that. Your heart is kind of in little pieces, and then you're fucking dumped into the chaos and the establishment treachery that was Philadelphia. So I write a little bit about, what that was like for me. I report on things you probably don't know that happened behind the scenes at the Democratic National Convention. And I really think I, as best as I can, gave a true picture of the alternative reality that was painted on television by corporate media of, unity and all this bullshit inside versus what was actually going on the streets of America, which was a collective. It was kind of like in that scorching concrete. It was 100 degrees, if you remember there. The millennials, the older Bernie types. It was really like a collective. It was a collective moment. That's the best way I could describe it. A collective moment in time that I don't think we'll ever have again. So I hope you'll download and subscribe. If you don't know, you could subscribe at $1. You could subscribe at $3, $5, $7. There's all sorts of levels. I have shirts that I'm going to be mailing out to people if you're at a higher level. And this is to support me. Obviously, I'm out of work at the moment. If you've been following my videos, I have a lot of plans in the works right now to launch a media network. I will update you as I go, but that's patreon.com/Jordan Chariton. You have to be subscribed at even $1 to read the chapters. Chapter 4 was released last week on the election fraud. Chapter 5 today. Hello, Jordan from London. Why, thank you. I've never been to London. I really want to go. Richard, can I stay with you in London? I was in Germany, though, last year. That was cool. Chapter 6 and 7 are both on Standing Rock, and I'll be releasing that probably next month. I have released 5 chapters so far. I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I got 7 more that I've written and will be published over the next, I'd say 2 to 3 months. I also am going to write a few more chapters, so there will be more chapters released. I'm at almost $1,500 per chapter. I can't thank you guys enough who are subscribing. I've gotten great messages about the book so far. People really like it. I'm going to be launching something next week that if you don't want to subscribe for a book, but you want to contribute to reporting, there will be something else launched next week. So a lot of things going on. But I want to read you part of chapter 5 of my book. Not because I'm narcissistic, but you don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. You don't have to download it if you don't want to. Some of us don't even have $1 to subscribe or to support. Totally understand that, but I want to read a part of it. Hopefully, for those of you who haven't subscribed but might want to read the chapter, again, chapter 4 was released last week. Chapter 5 was released this morning. Chapter 5, I named It's Not Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Thank you, Sergio. Just pledged $5 per chapter. I love Sergio. Now, chapter 5, It's Not Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because this is the definitive chapter on what really happened at the 2016 Democratic National Convention. My wife won't let me sign up for your Patreon because of the events that led to you leaving TYT. I have you shown any contrition? Go watch the first video I did. Go watch the first video I did on this channel. I addressed what happened with TYT and other things. But hey, if your wife won't let you, I can't argue with your wife. I hope she will have an open mind in the future about me, because I think I'm an okay person. And as I said in the first video on this channel, when I was addressing my future, I addressed that. I basically told you the truth. The allegation against me was 110% false. I can't say anything more than that. I mean, I addressed it several months ago in writing. I explained what happened, and I addressed it again. I think it was last week I did that video. It's 110% false. I'm moving forward. Most people that deal in facts, most people that have looked into it, who have heard from me and other sides, they've come to the conclusion that I'm telling the truth. So what can I tell you? As far as the Young Turks, I wish them well. I said that in a prior video. I definitely, there's some things I can't talk about for legal reasons. I will say I'm very, very happy to be out on my own right now. I'm very, very happy to be able to have full autonomy to execute the vision that I have. And I think we have together. I'm very, very happy. I don't need to crap on TYT. You could watch whatever you want. You could watch TYT. You could watch me. You don't have to watch TYT. You don't have to watch me. But there's no need for me to crap on them. You have a choice what media you want to consume. I feel that I have something different to offer, frankly. I was public about my feelings about some of their coverage when I was there. I was public about my feelings on some of their coverage. My feelings have not changed. But I don't focus on what the Young Turks is doing, to tell you the truth. I still have some friends of the Young Turks, and I wish them well. I mean, life is short to be so bitter, I certainly have some thoughts on things that happened and certain decisions that were made and certain people and some of the things they did. And those thoughts will stay right here for both legal reasons, and there's no point. There's really no point. There's a lot of things to address in this world, much more important than the Young Turks to me. So I'm going to read you a little bit of this chapter. If you can subscribe, great. If you can't, no problem. I'm just going to read you some of it. This, again, was my dispatch from the Democratic National Convention in 2016. I kind of feel bad that some of the chapters are coming out so long after they actually happened. Like this happened almost 2 years ago. But I was going to release them earlier, but unfortunately, obviously some things happened that delayed it. So better late than never. So here we go. Quote, "They seemed offended by it. A Bernie supporter wearing a justice or bust button said about Clinton supporters' behaviors towards burners. Do they really want us to just be like extras in a movie and just always be clapping the entire time? Maybe they did want that. Reports of the shenanigans of the DNC and the Clinton camp were pouring in online, too. And that, folks, is the United States political establishment mantra towards us progressive peasants. sit your ass down if you can still get a seat, because a lot of the delegates their seats were actually given away. Sit your ass down. If you can still get a seat, smile and enjoy the sweet music of corruption. And that mentality, that arrogance, was like a storm cloud strangling Sanders supporters all around the arena. There was another storm cloud hanging over Wells Fargo, and it was about to burst into a political hurricane. Right before the convention began, Julian Assange and WikiLeaks decided to dump the first of many emails they'd obtained from a third party. Who knows? I'm not getting into Russia right now. First of many emails they've obtained from a third party who'd gotten them from the DNC itself. Unsurprisingly to me, the emails reveal an endless sea of corruption on the part of the DNC. This self-proclaimed neutral party had been openly pitching negative stories on Bernie Sanders to their allies in the corporate media. Other emails showed the DNC creating messaging strategies for Clinton's nomination in early 2015, before Sanders or any other Democratic primary candidate had even launched a campaign. Bernie, his supporters, and his campaign were criticized heavily and mockingly throughout these emails by the DNC staffers who were stalwarts of the Democratic elite. The emails were so scandalous that the chairwoman, Debbie Downer Wasserman Schultz, yes, I came up with that. That's Debbie Downer Wasserman Schultz, who is up again this year against Tim Canova in Florida, was forced to resign on the eve of the convention. Being a journalist for the Young Turks at the time was a non-stop balancing act in general, but the email drop multiplied my workload by 120. I never had a full-time producer and rarely had help with research or logistics, which was problematic for someone so hungry to break stories that mattered. Still, I tried to find time to sort through all these emails myself through the chaos of the convention. One thing was clear and didn't take any time to see it all. Bernie's supporters were angry. Not unsurprised, though. Delegate after delegate came up to me as I darted from place to place reporting and interviewing to ask me what I knew about the facts revealed in email X, Y, or Z. That's the tough part of this job. People want you to know and or have an opinion on everything and everyone that's important to them because, well, it's important to them. Don't get me wrong. For me, independent journalism is better than any life path I could think of, and I treasure the opportunity and trust provided to me. And if you haven't figured it out by now, I love talking to people. But between the train breakup, which I described earlier in the chapter, literally on the way to the DNC, on the train, my girlfriend at the time and I broke up. We were dating for a year. I was starting to churn the things in my head at potentially engagement. It was a major devastation to me at the time. And I didn't have a lot of time to process it because I was just dumped into Philadelphia and a very chaotic situation for a week. So I kind of weave in the chapter what happened with me personally to what I was reporting on. But between the train breakup, the Philly heat, and DNC's dirty little secrets exploding out 5 minutes before the convention began, I was more than a little stressed. I was also frustrated because I knew I wouldn't have the time necessary to sort through all of the emails that were released to break anything while the convention was going on. Jordan is so fucking honest sometimes. Too honest? Let me know. I could be less honest if you don't like my honesty. Months later, I further understood the impossibility of the situation I'd been in after going through Podesta's email leaks. With the Podesta emails, I was in a position where I did have time to go through them and break stories. It was more time-consuming even without the constant stress of being at the convention and being pulled in 20 different directions. Sometimes I found things in one email that resulted in 45 minutes to an hour of research and Google searches to try and put the puzzle together. There were several emails, for example, that led me to hop on the phone for 2 to 3 hours with people in Bernie's circle in order to confirm certain things or find out answers to things I didn't know. Again, there was no time for this during the convention, but there was something I could do that I'm proud of, even as many DNC emails sat unread. I was in the perfect position to serve as the microphone for flustered, betrayed, and enraged Sanders delegates. These were the same delegates and Bernie supporters who had been called conspiracy theorists by the cocktail crowd journalists in attendance at the convention. We now had confirmation via the emails that Bernie supporters had been dubbed Bernie Bros after the Clinton campaign created the absurd narrative and fed it to, wait for it, the cocktail crowd journalist in attendance at the convention. How does that work? So let me read that one more time. These were the same delegates and Bernie supporters who had been called, quote, conspiracy theorists by the cocktail crowd journalists in attendance at the convention. We now had confirmation via the emails that Bernie supporters had been dubbed Bernie Bros after the Clinton campaign created the absurd narrative and fed it to, wait for it, the cocktail crowd journalists in attendance at the convention. These were the same Bernie supporters who were being equated to right-wingers in their hate for Queen Hillary. The same supporters who were being accused of spreading lies about Clinton's record. Lies that would be verified as truth from the emails released by WikiLeaks right before the convention. The awful, borderline inhumane treatment by establishment Hillbots towards Sanders delegates wasn't a shock to me. I'd experienced to a lesser degree the entitlement and arrogance towards populist progressives for the 9 months I had been on the road previous to the convention. From Clinton supporters aghast at my audacity for challenging their nonsense in interviews, to a general disdain towards my presence from corporate media reporters who would look at me and my TYT microphone with rolled eyes. You see, whether it's Hillbots hurling insults at Bernie delegates at the convention or corporate gasbags, journalists, looking at me like I've interrupted their cocktail party as they fawn over the very people they're supposed to be covering, it's clear the establishment couldn't care less about unity. The only thing they care about is unadulterated power, which was on full display in Philadelphia. I will leave it there. There's a lot more to that chapter. I only read a snippet. There's also a lot of cool, my business partner Jen, who's helped me editing this, she put in a lot of cool images that I think will bring you back to the DNC. So that's a little snippet from the chapter. I will leave you with this, folks, as I am about to go back on Reddit to finish my Ask Me Anything. You know, there's a lot to cover. There's a lot not being covered. I'm only one person, so I'll try to do it as best as I can. There's going to be some things you want covered that I won't get to. There's going to be some things I do cover a lot that you think I cover too much. Whatever. It is Jordan Chariton at protonmail.com. Jordan Chariton at protonmail.com. You can send me story ideas there. You could send me whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want. Story ideas. If you're interested in potentially investing in my new media company, feel free to message. I'm definitely looking for investors now. We're about to send out the business proposal for investors. But I will also say this. Right before this video, I did a video before this. We were almost at 200 viewers live. 200 viewers live. We're about to hit 7,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. I say we. I really mean it. It's not me. It's us. I think, based on what I saw on the road for 2 years, based on what I'm seeing from you right now, that there is not only a desire for real journalism, and when I say real journalism, I mean real news, real facts, real enlightenment, real engagement on issues that actually affect you rather than this bullshit Russia nonsense. The more you subscribe, the more you retweet, the more you get other people to subscribe, because this is word of mouth too. Tell your mother, tell your father, tell your brother, tell your sister, tell your dog, tell your mailman, tell your girlfriend, tell your boyfriend, tell whoever to press the subscribe button, press the bell so you get notifications. Sign up for my email list too. I'm going to be sending out emails more periodically with special bonuses and all that good stuff. JordanChariton.com. JordanChariton.com. You can sign up to my email list. Just put in your email. The bottom line is this, folks. I will not be in the field for a few weeks because I'm doing physical therapy for my back, but I will be doing videos as much as humanly possible. I can't tell both girlfriend and boyfriend. Be weird to run into both of them on the chat. Tell whichever you prefer. I really, really appreciate you subscribing. I really appreciate you subscribing to my Patreon if you've done that. I really appreciate you following me on Twitter and get this message out there that we're doing this. Because you know what? There's great commentators out there, Jimmy. There's great commentators out there like Kyle Kalinske. There's great commentators out there like Lee Camp. I think Jamal Thomas, who I'm going to go on with soon, I think is really up and coming. I love his work. I think there's a lot of people doing great work. I just hope that you will consider, yes, if Jimmy will have me, I'll be on Jimmy's show. I love me some Jimmy Dore. I love Jimmy Dore Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and 3 times on Sunday. And I just want to publicly say to Jimmy, and so you know, I'm not going to get into private conversations. I'll keep that between Jimmy and I. But Jimmy has been one of the most supportive people to me, privately and publicly, actually, over the last few months. Jimmy, you don't have to agree with everything Jimmy does or every issue. Jimmy is a really, there's very few people in independent media who, how do I say this? There's very few people that what you see on the screen is exactly who they are off the screen. And that's who Jimmy is. Jimmy has supported me. We have spoken many times on the phone. I'm not going to get into what those conversations were about because that's private, but let's just say he's been very supportive, and I appreciate him. I've gotten to watch a lot more of him now that I've been sidelined than I did when I was on the road. He's a funny motherfucker, he's an angry motherfucker, and he's an enlightening motherfucker. So thank you, Jimmy. I thank you. Subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to my email, go now, jordanchariton.com, so you'll get email. I'm not going to do it every day. You won't get 100 emails. Subscribe to the Patreon and all the other good things. I'm going on Reddit now. I will post the link right now on my Twitter for you if it's not in the description box. Peace.